So CNN, ever always the race hustlers, the race baiters of the news media. Whenever it comes to mass shootings in particular, there's an agenda every time to try and say either it is a conservative or a white male. And any time that it is not one of those two categories, there is always an attempt to either downplay the incident or to outright obfuscate. Now, there was a shooting in New York. It's been all over the news. Mass shooting. Some idiot thought he had CTE, and they now believe that he might have been trying to get into the NFL offices because even though he never played in the NFL, even though he never had a chance for a CTE in the NFL, he decided he's a retard and he was going to go shoot up the place. So he kills a few people. Now, the man is, well, he did not fit one of those categories. Here you can see right here. This is the guy. Now, apparently, some idiot CNN anchor was suggesting that he might have been a white man.
They do not know who he is. They know he is a male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses. He appears to have a mustache. And that picture has been distributed to every police officer in New York City, particularly has been sent to the phones of the search teams inside that building, because whenever they encounter a group of people, the first thing they have to figure out is that individual among these people hiding among victims or pretending to be an office worker? Because one thing you don't want to have happen is to have this kind of cordon where you're trying to evacuate people in groups as you can get them to a safe corridor and have this person slip out with them. So, yes, they have the picture and they have distributed to everybody on the scene.
So here we can see, no, definitely not, right?
Mustache, sunglasses in that building, isolated to, they believe, to various locations, including upper floors, is where they're focused. What are you learning, Shimon? Shimon, you're here to John's reporting that they do know the fit. Shimon, you're here to John's reporting that they do know the fit, what he looks like, male, possibly white, mustache.
Well, no, I, that is the opposite. Let's hear that again.
Shimon, you're here to John's reporting that they do know the fit, what he looks like, male, possibly white.
This, I mean, they had the picture of the guy up there. Clearly not. CNN typically likes to push their propaganda, and they don't like to disparage minority groups, and so they make it an effort to obfuscate. And this would be one of those classic examples. So the CNN's Fact First motto instead faced criticism for allegedly attempting to drum up a narrative Monday after a man entered a high-rise in New York facility, fatally shooting 4 people before reportedly taking his own life. Parroting what an analyst claimed, CNN's Erin Burnett repeatedly shared a description of a possibly white suspect, even though that was obviously not the case, a point readily refuted by images of the since-deceased 27-year-old Shane Tamura. They do not know who he is, the CNN chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst John Miller said during live coverage. They know he is a male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses, and he appears to have a mustache. And that picture has been distributed to every police officer in New York City. Burnett went on to share the description multiple times, including while seeking further details from a reporter when she said they do not know what he looks like, male, possibly white, mustache, sunglasses. So, I just... Why? Why would you do this? Let's just cut to the chase. This comes from white guilt. There's an agenda, sure. But white guilt, I think, is the primary driver here because you have a scenario where you want to reinforce the idea that, look, sure, the black community has a bad rap because of the high propensity to end up in jail, because of the single mother epidemic, which raises a bunch of kids who have no fathers. And as the old saying goes, fathers are there to keep daughters off of stripper poles and boys out of jail. And when you don't have the fathers in the picture, guess what? You end up with a lot of boys in jail. But the bottom line is this is something that CNN does quite frequently. They tend to try and either obfuscate, hide, if you will, incidences where it is a minority group. It's just weird to me that they do this. Anyway, for those that do not know, CNN later reported that law enforcement officials had indicated papers were discovered on the perpetrator's body detailing his grievances with the NFL, which he did not actually play in, which has offices in the very building that he tried to attack. In particular, the documents called out the Football League's handling of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, whatever, a head injury-induced brain disease. The perpetrator was said to have played football, but again, not the NFL. Anyway, an expert from the documents was said to have read that Terry Long football gave me CTE, and it caused me to drink a gallon of antifreeze. No, that was just you being a retard. You can't go against the NFL; they'll squash you. He continued and included a plea to study his brain. I hope they don't study his brain. I think that would be a good way to treat this guy, is treat him like trash, like the trash he is. So, yeah. Once again, CNN. Oh, God. Man, this is somebody commenting on CNN. You're saying this woman is white and was attacked by a group of thugs. No media coverage. You know, this dude is the shooter in Manhattan and is identified as possibly white. Clearly, again, not the case. CNN is anti-white. The bias is there. This is our media in America, folks. Propaganda, something needs to be done. This is why we have division in this country, dishonest media. White people are under attack in America. Well, that there can be no denial. The anti-white crusades have been going on for quite a long time. You have the hate groups Antifa and BLM that have been pushing that, and of course the narrative of anti-white, anti-male has been prevalent for quite some time. So there you go, my friends. Don't worry. Possibly white, according to CNN.